What's up, everybody? Wraithrealm TV. Major shakeups are coming to Microsoft, and all the divisions are getting a cleansing because Microsoft's losing hella money, and people are losing their jobs. Is how it should be. So Microsoft is shaking the tree with the Xbox division and the Windows division and the AI division. They're all getting new people in place, and the new era of Microsoft is happening. Phil Spencer, gone. He needed to go. Guys, he needed to go. He literally was just a talking piece, and that's all he was. He wasn't really making moves like we thought he was going to make, and he got complacent. Sarah Bond, same thing. They made moves, and she became complacent. I think Matt Booney's next. I know he got upgraded, but it's his time to shine, or it's going to be he's going to be fired. Microsoft is not in the game right now to play around. They are literally trying to reposition Microsoft. Their stock prices have been plummeting. Windows 11 is a shell of itself. It's not Windows I remember it to be. They're trying to get people back to using Microsoft Windows products. They're trying to get people to come back to the Xbox brand. But I think that ship has sailed. They got to fix the damage. They ruined their reputation with people, the consumer. Microsoft shafted a lot of freaking people, especially when it came to Game Pass, especially with their core games like Halo, like Gears, like Forza. People kind of are not really into the same vibe as they were 10 years ago. And I think Microsoft needs to reconstruct themselves and re-get people interested in the product. And coming out with products that people didn't ask for. That's the other thing. And not getting things properly set up for a handheld. That was kind of a failure, to be honest with you, with Asus. And then charging so much money and then blaming this and blaming that did not help their cause. The AI shit did not help their cause. And Phil Spencer staying complacent, Sarah Bond staying complacent and pushing this narrative. Everything's an Xbox. Everything's an Xbox. And then not bringing out great games. Not filling up their library and making it worth the $30 to spend. A lot of us are going on CD key sites to get the damn Xbox Game Pass for the same price it was. And then when you hear articles coming out of they're making another tier for Game Pass and it's going to be $40, that's when you kind of go, something's got to give within Microsoft. And when their stocks are plummeting and people are actually buying their games again instead of using these subscription services. And it's the same thing with Spotify. That's what happened with Spotify. People are dumping Spotify to go everywhere else because of what's going on with Spotify, and they lost the trust of the consumer. Same thing what's happening with Microsoft. Microsoft lost the trust of the consumer. People are going over to Linux. People are done with Microsoft. So hopefully with these shakeups, hopefully with all the shakeups that they just made today, Microsoft can get the trust hopefully back in the consumer. I'm hoping they do. I grew up with Microsoft. I grew up with the Xbox. I want them to do better. I want them to dominate. They have all these great games, and you're telling me they can't figure it out. They have Guitar Hero. They have Crash Bandicoot. They have Spyro. They have Tony Hawk. They have all these different platforms and games, and they can't figure it out. They could be raking in the money, and they still can't figure this out. So hopefully Asha Shorman can figure this out. I know she's inexperienced. I'm going to give her a chance. I'm going to see what she does in the first year one of her regime. Let's see what she does as the new CEO. She was also co-CEO of Instacart. Hopefully she does a good job. Hopefully she said she's going to try to bring the lifeblood to Microsoft. She's going to try to get it back to where it once was. Look. I'm going to give her a chance. It's a little fishy. She's the head of the AI stuff, and she was also part of Meta, and let's see what she can do. I'm not going to turn around and go, oh, well, she's the demon lady, and I'm not like everybody else today saying, oh, this, that, and the third. It is very fishy what's going on with Microsoft, but this needed to happen. You can't keep losing money. Somebody's got to go. Phil Spencer needed to retire. I think he overstayed his welcome. I think after getting the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, I think he should have gone one more year and then just retired at that point. He's made so much money. He's made Xbox into a global brand itself. Xbox was at the break of going out of business when Don Matrick, and he made everybody feel welcomed back, and tried to get the customer back, and he did for a while there. And then Microsoft just upped their prices, up Game Pass. It just felt like the company became greedy. And now with all the AI slop and their stocks dropping, they needed to do something. Sarah Bond resigned. Out of all this, Matt Booney, I don't like Matt Booney. And I thought Matt Booney, if they were going to pick somebody, I thought it was going to be Sarah Bond. I agree with a lot of people there. I thought it was going to be Sarah Bond. But also Sarah Bond's very been complacent too. And I'm kind of grateful that they brought in somebody else than her, because Sarah Bond, you'd have the same formula. You would have the same formula. Now, I'm hoping with all of this, with all this different movement and everything, that Game Pass comes down in price. Microsoft starts making AAA games and gets back to their roots. So far, Aja Sermon is saying everything right now. She's talking all these talking points, and Nadella is talking about all these different points. But at the end of the day, you got to bring games to the table. You got to start innovating. You got shortages. You got to make it. You got to make it fun again to be a somebody that believes in Xbox Game Studios. Like, there hasn't been a Halo that's been good in a minute. Call of Duty's kind of a failing brand, and Microsoft used to have these top tier games that we would all get excited every year for, and not so much anymore. Where's Gears been? Since Gears of War 5, there really hasn't been a Gears game that continues the storyline with Kate. We're getting a prequel. Is that coming or not? Fable, that's kind of, to me, like, can we complete Fable at this point, and let's get it right, you know what I mean? Let's get it right. Let's get the things right. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I welcome these moves. Look, Microsoft's been failing. Steam's been kicking their ass. And that's the truth. Sony is also failing as well right now. And Sony probably needs a shakeup too. All these companies need a shakeup. The gaming industry's in a shithole. I don't know where people are, like, Steam's having to delay their machines all indefinitely because of the AI shortage. So I'm hoping, the RAM and AI and all that shit shortage. I'm hoping that the Chinese, supposedly all the wafers and everything are coming, and it's going to save our consumers, and Chinese brands are going to start showing up in America. And I'm kind of excited about that. I am really excited about that, because you know what? I think there needs to be a curve stomp that happens to all the major players and the major brands. I'm sorry, there needs to be a shakeup. I think there needs to be multiple countries making RAM, and NVMEs, and we should have different places, like Europe making their own stuff, China making their own stuff, like we do cars. I think it's been a monopoly for quite a while, and I think with this going on and the AI kind of bubble kind of bursting and you got Jensen losing his mind. Natalia's losing their mind. You got Sam Altman losing his mind. You got Mark Zuckerberg. You got all big tech. Like, you can't keep putting in, things have to change. Gaming has to change as a whole. Like, seriously, Epic Games, all these, there needs to be shakeups across the board. I feel like a gaming crash is still coming, but this is good moves. I think Microsoft needed to let Phil Spencer go. Needed to let Sarah Bond go. Matt Booney, I thought they were going to go for the trifecta. They were just going to get rid of the whole regime. But what they did was they got rid of the whole regime around Phil Spencer. So all the people that were there, part of Phil Spencer, are gone. They're replacing it with this Asha Sermon. I'm hoping with all of this is what and if I'm butchering her name, I apologize. First and foremost, I'm going to give her a chance. I want to see what Microsoft's going to do going forward. And I'm just hoping out of all of this, I'm hoping Microsoft does some shakeups and cleans up some things and do some different things and whatnot. With Microsoft Gaming, they got to do something because it's been a failure. Overwatch, look, it seems like they want to go a story direction. Why don't we give us that finally? They need to do major shakeups within the division. They got too many games. They need to focus on their core franchise and bring out new games and start bringing out stuff. Like these AAA companies, they keep coming out with slop shit and not cool shit, and it shows. It shows when you have things like this. I expect Sony to do the same. Sony's been complacent too. Microsoft's been very complacent. Nintendo's been very complacent. Look, with the things that are happening with Steam right now, I'm just honest with each and every one of you here. This shakeup needed to happen. I've been wanting this to happen for quite a while when it comes to Microsoft. Honest opinion, I mean, I don't know what else to say here. Like, I know people are going to say, oh, Microsoft is dying. This is why they're doing what they're doing. But at the end of the day, if you really, really go there, Phil Spencer needed to go. These people were all complacent. And if Matt Booney does not show up and deliver as chief officer of Xbox, then he needs to go. Natala is literally removing people. And the reason why, because they're failing as a brand. Their handheld did not do well. Their next console is probably not going to do well. If it comes out at like $1,200, say game over for Microsoft at this point. I think where Microsoft needs to start focusing on is games, Game Pass, getting people back in and delivering good stuff. Microsoft used to be a company that made great games yearly back in the 360. They need to go back to where their roots were back in the 360 days, where they made good games, they made it worth your time, made it worth your value. When Halo 3 was out, when Halo ODST came out, you know, they partnered up with really good companies. Now with Call of Duty should go back to the roots, back to World at War, and make games fun again. I think Microsoft's kind of missed the point, and I think consumers have revolted and said enough's enough. I think a lot of these companies are failing because all they keep doing is doing the same thing. Here's a battle pass. Here's some slop. Here's some slop DLC. That's what they do with Call of Duty every year. That's what they've done with Warzone. And then you see companies like the company behind Arc Raiders doing so well because they are listening. You're seeing like, and I know people are going to say I say this, but Tencent, right? Yeah, they're a corrupted company, and yes, the Jeff Keighley shit. But when they make good games, they give you good quality shit. Look at Baldur's Gate, for shit's sakes. So, you know, Microsoft really is in a position right now where they can gain back the consumer if they do good pricing, do not do the AI slop thing, keep AI, you know, I don't mind AI being a tool, but I don't need it in everything. And I don't need you recycling stuff. You need to go and fix that Call of Duty game, and you need to make Call of Duty great again. That's the thing. And stop trying to collect more studios to make your games. You have plenty. You have a Crash Bandicoot you can release. You can release a Spyro every other year. There's so many Guitar Hero. There's so many different franchises and entities that Microsoft could use to their exposure. And bring back the World of Warcraft gamer. There's so much shit that they could do right now to please the consumer. They have so much games and franchises that is sickening to me how they have not capitalized. They have failed. Since they bought Activision Blizzard, they have failed the consumer. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. My name is Wraith Realm TV. Hope you enjoyed my opinion on this. But if you read the article, Sarah Bond, current president, is now a former president. She quit. She just resigned. She took a golden parachute and left. We're going to find out coming soon. Maybe she signed an NDA, but we're going to find out what caused her to leave. She'll probably do a podcast or something. Sherma is going to be the one that's going to come in and take over. That was Natala's pick. She's going to come in. She was saying the right points, basically, how she's going to make Xbox great again. That's what she was basically saying. Xbox is going to be great again. We're going to try to bring in the fans. Good prices, good things, good deeds. That's what she's trying to do. But she has no idea what she's doing. Her history is with Instacart, somewhat Meta, mostly AI stuff and mostly backhaul stuff. So we're going to see. She worked a little bit with Home Depot and Lowe's a little bit as CEOs and shit like that. So she comes from a business background. So we'll see. I know Phil Spencer's going to help her out, learn the ropes, kind of like what's going on with the Disney and the difference in CEOs. But that CEO that's taking over Disney has been there for a while and knows the ropes. This person doesn't. So hopefully she says the right things. I'm kind of excited to see what she's going to do. It's a little fishy. I know I agree with a lot of people there. It's a little fishy. But at the same moment, I understand what's going on. And I get it. And, like I said before, Microsoft is trying to gain the consumer back. Is this a move trying to make people happy? And like I said, we're going to see. She runs the core AI side of things. We're going to see what she does with Xbox gaming as a whole. Microsoft has to do some shakeups here, and they have to do something because if they don't, they're going to drown. The company's already getting beat by Steam. Well, Steam had to delay their stuff, so Microsoft come out with another console and dominate. But I don't think they're going to, not for the next 3 years. I don't see Sony or them doing that because right now with the chip shortage because of AI and now Chinese companies are saying they're going to come in and try to save the day. Yay! We're going to see on all that because America's already going after TP-Link and all these different companies. So hopefully we can get some new RAM chip companies out there to build, VRAM and, NVMe drives and things like that. So hopefully things get better. I mean, supposedly things are supposed to get better. So with this shakeup, hopefully Microsoft gets better. And, Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond were there. They were complacent at the end. I did not see the vision of Phil Spencer anymore. I felt like Phil Spencer lost sight of himself. And then Sarah Bond was just whatever. Everything's an Xbox. Believe in this. Trust in us. Nobody really trusted you at the end. Anyway, my name is Wraith Realm TV. Let me know. Chime down in the comment section what you think. I'm going to give her a chance. I'm going to see what they do going forward. They got major games coming out this year. Phil Spencer is going to be gone after the summer. So it'll be her division to run. So we'll see. I really thought they were going to go Sarah Bond. I thought Sarah Bond they were building. But I think Sarah Bond, I really believe this. I think Sarah Bond did not want to be there anymore. I think she was done. She was worn out. And I think trying to get to those 30% and then company plowing, she was part of the problem. And I'm grateful they got rid of a lot of freaking people. They got rid of a lot of the bad entities in Microsoft as far as the Xbox division goes. There was a lot of them that were bad. And they were just pushing out games to push out games. Hopefully we get quality. Anyway, my name is Wraith Realm. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.